It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Wednesday, the 12th of March. I'm Michael Groff. Just want to take this opportunity to thank these folks for helping support the channel. It is because of you and your generosity that we're able to do these videos at all. So thank you so very much. And of course, we even have a question here from, I'm assuming this guy's a fisherman, and he wants to know why the changes in barometric pressure impact fishing. Now, I'm not an expert, okay? So take what I say with a grain of salt, much as you should with anything I tell you here. But my understanding is that changes in pressure, fish are very sensitive to that. Their swim bladders, which are filled with air, they expand and contract based on pressures. So as low pressure approaches, they become more active, more aggressive, they feed more. And then once high pressure is in control, temperatures start to warm up, and so they seek refuge into the cooler waters. They become a little bit more lethargic. That's why I have heard that fishing is often better just before a storm as opposed to after a storm. But again, I'm a weather guy. I'm a meteorologist, not a fish expert. So there you go. All right. Taking a look at our weather here. One system is moving out. Another will be following quickly on its heels tomorrow, and that will bring an increase in clouds, wind, and chances of showers, maybe some thunderstorms, snow up north. But where, when, how much precipitation, we'll talk about that. Plus, we have a lunar eclipse tomorrow night and into the early morning hours on Friday. And how's that looking? What's the weather going to be for that? Do we have a chance to see it here? We have too much cloud cover out there. We will talk about that and the weather for the weekend and into next week. Plus, there is a looming severe weather event across the Central Plains and the Southeast we've been talking about for several days. We'll get into that and the specifics on that as well. But before we do that, boy, I sure hope you guys are recovering from last night's excessive amount of lightning and tornadoes that were foretold by one of the local weather grifters around here that often likes to scare people. And yes, yesterday we went through this on the video yesterday, talking about excessive capital L lightning strikes, heavy rain, strong winds, and tornadoes. Well, let's take a look at what happened. There were a few lightning strikes in northern Yuma County and parts of southern Yavapai, but here in Maricopa County, nothing. A little thunder, cloud-to-cloud lightning, but no reports of ground strikes here in Maricopa County. And obviously no tornadoes, no large hail. There was a little bit of small hail and some winds, maybe 30, 35 miles per hour in the strongest gusts. So that's why you need to go to trusted sources of information. And I'm not even saying I'm one of those. I'm saying stick with the National Weather Service, the SPC. Those guys do a great job. But if you do come here for information, you know that we're not going to do the hype. We're not going to do all those kind of shenanigans. If there is severe weather, oh yeah, we will talk about it and we'll tell you about the risks and the dangers and all that. But we're not here to try and scare you. All right. All right, so let's get into it here. The almanac from yesterday. 81 degrees was the afternoon high, 56 the morning low, 77 and 54 the averages for this time of year. We did pick up 0.12 of an inch officially at Sky Harbor before midnight. Now, after midnight, we've had a little bit more rain, just a little under 1/10 of an inch, I believe. So just a little under 1/4 of an inch so far from our active weather pattern here. As we look outside right now at 5:35 a.m., we've got some clouds out there. We're sitting at 57 degrees at Sky Harbor. Dew point's 52, humidity 83%. The wind for the moment is calm and the barometer is rising. Satellite picture out here across the southwest. There you see that upper low that brought the rain and a few thunderstorms last night. That is moving off to the east. It's exiting the region, and with it, the chance of showers will be moving out. Now, we might just see a couple of showers kind of wrapping around across northern and eastern Arizona this morning. And I suppose it's not completely out of the question one of those could skirt across the valley. But for the most part, the rain has ended, and our next chance of precipitation comes in here tomorrow. And we'll show you how this low sort of played out as we put the satellite in motion from last night. And you can see that next storm system is looming off to the north and west of us. It will affect us during the day tomorrow. All right, the watch warning map, we've got red flag warnings and wind advisories and high wind warnings east of us across New Mexico, much of West Texas, and up into southeast Colorado, western Kansas. Wind gusts over 50 miles per hour, and obviously with low humidity, gusty winds, dry surfaces, the potential of wildfires is there, and that's why those red flag warnings are issued. Now in Arizona, we've got a wind advisory for a good portion of southern, western, and central Arizona. This includes the Phoenix metro area, and this is in effect tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So the potential of gusty winds over 40 miles per hour exists in that advisory area. And obviously, when we have gusty winds here in the desert, there's always that potential of patchy blowing dust. And so the usual dust corridors along I-10 and I-8 and even up into northwest Arizona, you will want to be aware of that if you're traveling tomorrow. Plus, of course, if you're in a high-profile vehicle, just want to know about those gusty winds. And certainly over the open deserts of Southern California, winds might even touch 45 miles per hour or higher. And we could see some locally stronger gusts in isolated thunderstorms as well. The convective outlook for today, there's a risk of severe storms with that low coming out of the southwest. And so that will be the standard slight risk around the Arklatex region. The marginal risk basically includes East Texas, Southeast Oklahoma, nosing all the way eastward into northwest Mississippi. Well, let's skip ahead here. Let's get to that day 3 outlook. This is what we've been talking about for a while. This is Friday, and this outlook actually runs through 5 a.m. Saturday morning. You've got the enhanced risk that really extends from around northwest Alabama, west central and northwest Alabama, including places like Tuscaloosa, all the way up through Memphis, St. Louis, northward toward Davenport and Moline, Illinois. And in that zone, there's the greatest potential for strong damaging straight line winds, large hail, and yes, a few tornadoes. And there could even be a few strong tornadoes, especially in that zone, that area in orange. But the broader severe weather risk extends from the Gulf Coast all the way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Milwaukee. So there's certainly a risk of severe storms on Friday. We've been talking about it. I know this has been a much hyped event, and, we've really tried to keep it in perspective here, but there is absolutely a risk of severe storms and maybe multiple rounds of that. And then on Saturday, as that main low lifts out, another surface low develops and another wave comes out of the southwest and into the southern plain states, and that will give us another chance at severe storms for parts of Mississippi, Alabama, the adjacent states there, and again, the severe weather risk from the Gulf Coast all the way up to the eastern Great Lakes. And this could be a fairly widespread severe weather event. It's looking like more of a linear type of event, QLCS kind of event, but there could be some discrete cells. And again, we're going to talk about that threat a little bit more in modeling. And then as we go to the day 5 outlook, or rather the day 5 outlook. This is Sunday, losing track of the days. And again, the severe weather risk extends from around Tallahassee all the way up to Philadelphia. All right, closer to home, the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Wednesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix anywhere from about 1/3 to 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more than that, 2/3 of an inch possible in some areas. As we do have at least one more, or I suppose you could even suggest 2 more opportunities for precipitation between now and Saturday, and then maybe a glancing blow from a trough early next week. We'll talk about all of that and everything else as we dive on in, check the models right now, see what the future may hold. Here we go, the GFS. This is the 06Z run. It's valid at 2 o'clock this afternoon. All right, there's our area of low pressure that came through yesterday. It's now off over the southern plain states. We are left in its wake, and a brief little shortwave ridge tries to build in across the area today. And so what it's going to mean down at the surface for us, we'll have a few showers around early this morning, but I think the rain chances have pretty much ended for us here in Phoenix. And then we'll turn partly cloudy. High temperatures will top out somewhere in the upper 60s and low 70s. We should be a bit cooler than what we were yesterday. And again, a few showers are possible over northern and eastern Arizona this morning, and those should clear out this afternoon. All right, for tonight, looking at partly cloudy sky, overnight lows generally in the 40s in the cool spots, but 50s elsewhere. Now let's get to tomorrow. Here comes that next system, and this is going to be an interesting setup here. This is a trough that's coming in kind of at a neutral tilt. It might even start to go negative tilt as it enters the region. And this is a much colder, more dynamic system than that which came through here yesterday, but the center of this is obviously further to the north, but nevertheless, the winds increase, and it's going to turn rather windy tomorrow. And again, we have that wind advisory starting at 11 a.m., so we'll see south to southwest winds, 10 to 25 miles per hour, increasing through the morning and into the afternoon hours. We could see some gusts over 40 miles per hour at times. Those are gradient winds, but as that frontal band approaches, we're going to see an increasing chance of rain. Now, there's a slight chance we could see some showers in the morning, yes, but the main threat of rain, at least the timing as it looks right now, doesn't actually come in until tomorrow afternoon. We'll show you on our high-resolution guidance. This is the HRRR, the high-resolution rapid refresh model, at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And rather, this is 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And at that time, it shows a band of showers and some isolated thunderstorms moving into western Arizona. The leading edge of that just entering the valley about that time. So sometime tomorrow, 12, 1, 2 o'clock, probably is where we will start to see our best rain chances coming in. And again, it will be windy in advance of that. Now, as for risks of severe weather or thunderstorms and maybe some strong storms anyway, we'll take a look at that risk. Here's the CAPE. This is the convective available potential energy tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. And this is coming off of the HRRR once again. And you can see CAPE values anywhere from about 2 to 3, 400 joules per kilogram here across south central Arizona. Not overwhelming, but not zero. And so as a result, isolated thunderstorms will be possible. Will they be strong or severe? Again, the strongest storms could put down some brief, small hail, some gusty winds, maybe over 40, 45 miles per hour. Given the fact that we have gradient winds about that strong, we could obviously see a locally stronger gust, maybe approaching severe limits. I kind of doubt it, but it's not 100% out of the question given the dynamics of this trough. So we do have to consider the possibility of an isolated severe gust, but it's certainly not a widespread deal or anything. We'll see organized severe weather by any means, but this is coming in toward the peak of daytime heating, so we'll have some thermodynamics to work with here as well. Now, we'll be cooler tomorrow with high temperatures generally in the low to middle 60s, but it really depends on when this rain comes in. We conceivably could actually see high temperatures get a little bit warmer than forecast, especially if we don't realize much precipitation early in the morning. All right, now as for the lunar eclipse, because that frontal band is going to come through, it's going to last a few hours, but that's going to be it. And then that moves out and we'll start to see decreasing clouds. So what about the lunar eclipse, which the eclipse really begins around 10 o'clock tomorrow night here in Phoenix, and it will reach its peak at 11:26. That's when totality begins, and it will last for about an hour and 5 minutes. And so your best opportunity to see that, I would say, probably going to be after 11 p.m., given that clouds will start to move out. This is the simulated IR satellite, again, coming off of the HRRR, and this is at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. And the clouds are beginning to move out at that time. So there's a pretty good chance that we'll at least be able to see some, if not most, or even all of this eclipse here in Phoenix with limited obscurity. So that's great news. Now, if you're across northern or eastern Arizona, well, that doesn't look quite as likely. But hey, around here, that looks pretty good. So now what was looking kind of marginal is looking better. But obviously, we're going to have to see how this system plays out. It has kind of shifted toward a slightly slower progression in recent model runs. So if it takes a little longer to move out, then obviously that means our view of the eclipse would be diminished. All right, let's go to Friday. Now that system's out of here and will turn partly cloudy. It will be breezy to locally windy at times, and it will be a cool day. Friday is likely not only the coolest day of the forecast period, but I will venture to say it will be the coolest day that we have until probably November. So high temperatures only in the mid to upper 50s. Plenty of cold air advection in the wake of this. And with that low really wrapping up across the plain states, the wind is going to be with us. A few wraparound showers across northern and eastern Arizona. There's a secondary little short wave that's going to drop in here Friday afternoon and Friday night. And that could give us another chance at some rain, and we've actually bumped up the rain chance on Friday night up into about the 50% bracket. Not heavy rain, not especially widespread, but scattered showers will be possible on Friday night here as that secondary wave comes through, and it will be breezy and windy at times. Now, let's also talk about another threat on Friday as that low goes out into the plain states. You can see, there it is, 976 millibar low to the southwest of Omaha. And to the north and east of that, we'll see some snow and some very windy conditions all around that low across the plains and even into the southeast U.S. And with that low, of course, coming out to the plains and with all the wind, the strong dynamic wind fields with that, you can see the vorticity here. I mean, look, this system is going to bring a chance at severe storms, especially in that warm sector to the east and southeast. But really, the best wind fields from this, the best diffluent wind fields here from this exist, especially across northern Arkansas, Missouri, into parts of Iowa and Illinois. And I think that's going to be the focus for any severe weather on Friday afternoon, Friday night, and then shifting eastward further toward the south and east from Arkansas to Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, and points a little bit to the north of there. So this will be, I think, more of a linear event, but again, there could be some discrete cells, and obviously the chance of large hail, damaging straight line winds, and some scattered tornadoes, a possibility, and a few strong tornadoes are possible. Now, the exact nature of that threat, we still can't tell you because we're not quite in the range of our convective allowing models, which show us more of the mesoscale features. And we're not even going to really have a great understanding of how the atmosphere is stacked up until we get to about Friday morning. We get those soundings going and we can really key in on the greatest threat. But right now, a pretty broad, high impact event is expected in the plain states in the southeast. Now, that's going to shift to the east on Saturday. We've got another low that's coming out of the southwest. That short wave that gives us the chance of rain on Friday night, as it comes out into the plains on Saturday, it starts to go negative tilt. And we see another surface low that's developing somewhere over the southeast U.S., Mississippi, maybe back toward Arkansas, or maybe even into Alabama. Where that surface low develops will obviously be important. But right now, the risk is that we'll see one line or one area of severe storms Friday night into early Saturday moving across the southeast U.S. There'll be a lull in that, but then as we get the thermodynamics going on Saturday, we'll have another chance at strong and severe storms really from southeast Louisiana through Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, but that risk really goes all the way northward into Ohio, southeast Michigan, and maybe into western Pennsylvania during the day on Saturday. And again, the real focus for the strongest dynamics and the best chance of tornadoes and large hail and damaging wind will be across Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, maybe into parts of Georgia. So, again, we don't want to overhype this. And of course, things can change. And just because this looks great on the surface in terms of its potential of severe weather doesn't mean that'll be realized. We have to really cover that. But right now, this sure looks like it's going to be a linear type event with a few discrete cells out ahead of a main line of showers and thunderstorms that will develop during the day on Saturday and continue into Saturday night, early Sunday. And then that will push east on Sunday. And so that could affect the East Coast. But looking at the synoptic view here, I mean, that doesn't look good. I got this surface low that's moving up toward Elizabethtown, Kentucky by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. And so there's that front that's going to be dragged eastward. And our main low, our parent low, is moving over Lake Superior, Upper Michigan, and into Canada at that time. But a secondary surface low will provide enough wind fields and good dynamics for that severe weather potential in the southeast. There it is on Sunday. Severe weather threat will still be there, but not nearly as much as the strongest winds aloft and the best diffluence kind of fizzles out, and this becomes just a clear linear event with some isolated severe weather for the East Coast, really from North Florida all the way up to around Philadelphia or even New York City. Hey, for us, though, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday looks great. We'll see decreasing clouds, temperatures on Saturday in the 60s. We'll get back toward the low 70s, maybe mid 70s on Sunday. We could be back to around 80 degrees by the time we get to Monday. We'll have partly cloudy sky here. Another trough is going to come into the west. But recent runs of the GFS, as we were talking about yesterday, have shifted this trough further and further to the north, and so the possibility of precipitation really doesn't look great. As we go to Tuesday, we're going to put an isolated shower into the forecast for Tuesday, but I would not be surprised if in later forecasts we just take out the chance of rain entirely, because right now it just doesn't look like we're going to see anything. Breezy, slightly cooler temperatures for sure. High temperatures should drop back into the low to mid 70s with this, but that's going to be about it. The best chance of precipitation across northern Arizona, but even at that, probably not much. Looks like really any precip will be concentrated more over the Rockies with this next feature. All right, let's keep going. A week from today, this is Wednesday the 19th, and that trough is now out in the Plain States, and there's another chance of showers and thunderstorms. Not as much a severe weather look with that, but still we'll watch that system carefully. For us, high pressure is building back in, so warmer temperatures. Yeah, we'll see highs getting back probably toward the low 80s if that works out. Let's just quickly look out 10 days. This is Friday the 21st, a zonal flow here. Temperatures close to, if not just ever so slightly above average. There's another trough heading for the Pacific Northwest, but in the current kind of de-amplifying configuration that we're seeing here across much of the Northern Hemisphere, especially North America, probably that next trough will stay far away from us, and we will enter a somewhat prolonged period of quieter conditions here in the Southwest. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix, this goes out through the 26th of the month off the European ensemble, keeping in mind that this actually includes the rain that we've seen this morning. So the ensemble mean is about an inch, but actually it's closer to 2/3 or 3/4 of an inch going forward. GFS ensemble pretty much in the same boat. 2/3 of an inch for the next couple of weeks. Temperatures off the national blend of models. The coolest day will be Friday. It's printing out a high temperature of 61 degrees. I am not sure we even make it there. Probably we stay in the 50s all day, but we will see. And then obviously a dramatic warm up thereafter as we go into next week with high pressures trying to build back in. A quick trough passes to the north, but overall the trend in temperatures will be up as you would expect as we go further into March. And that is going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, then click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube and make those monetary contributions to us. Or, of course, even better, donate via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Check out her blogs, videos, everything Michelle related. It's all linked up down in the description. Our streaming station, it's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music, have a lot of fun over there. Give that a look, give that a listen, and you will not regret it. Oh, that most chaotic mix of music. And if you don't want to use the links in the description, you can just go to kmgx.com and listen directly via that avenue. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support, so greatly appreciated. Please be safe, and you guys have yourselves a terrific rest of your Wednesday.